Hello guys, this is just a simple video to show how Caliburn.Micro framework works for MVVM. This video will be about Windows Phone version, and I will be talking about the Windows 8 version soon enough. So we all know MVVM, model view, view model. We have any Windows Phone, Windows 8 user, Windows 8 Windows Phone developer, or even WPF or Silverlight developer knows the model view, view model architecture. You're supposed to have a good knowledge about MVVM before proceeding with this video. We all use MVVM, and we know it has a couple of problems, like the internal plumbing, the boilerplate code, what we call boilerplate code, that the developer needs to add in his project in every view model. It's a lot of code that is unfunctional, not functional, but it is required. It doesn't do a function by itself, but it is required for the MVVM to work. And also the magic strings, which are used in the MVVM, which might cause a lot of problems. For example, a little typo can make a lot of damage because of the magic strings. So if I passed the value, the name of the property by mistake with a typo, the code all will stop, and the system will tell me everything is okay, but the binding just won't work. So there have been lots of toolkits, and there are lots of toolkits coming up to like solve the problems of the MVVM architecture. For example, the MVVM Lite toolkit, which is a very good toolkit, and the Caliburn.Micro toolkit. These two are two of the most used toolkits around the globe by developers. They are very, very famous, and you can find lots of tutorials about them on the web. So what are the pros and cons of the MVVM Lite? It's easy to implement. You can put it easily in your project, implement it easily in your project. Don't have to do lots of steps to do it, and it uses the same concepts as the MVVM architecture itself. You don't need to know anything more. It just uses the same concepts. About the cons, because it's easy to implement, it doesn't solve all the problems. So the developer still has to do a lot of work in order to make the MVVM work correctly, especially if it's a large project or something. So these are the pros and cons of the MVVM Lite toolkit. And what about the Caliburn.Micro? Well, the pros of the Caliburn.Micro is that it have less overhead on the developer. Developer doesn't have to do a lot of work to make it work, to make the MVVM work. Developers can easily just call the Caliburn.Micro and use lots of the code that it handles automatically. That causes more productivity and helps the developer a lot. What it does is that it hides the mechanism that is not needed to be seen. For example, the boilerplate code, which is required to for the application to work, for the MVVM for the MVVM architecture to work, but we don't need to see it. We don't need to change it. It's a static code that exists only for the MVVM to work. The Caliburn.Micro hides all that behind the hood in the toolkit itself. Also, one of the pros is that the Caliburn.Micro uses conventions, naming conventions. We will get to know naming conventions better in the demo that we are going to do in a couple of seconds. What is naming conventions? It uses names as a binding method, which makes binding a lot easier than typing code. So what else is that it comes with helpers for Windows Phone for scenarios that are specific to Windows Phone. For example, the tombstoning, application lifecycle. You can it comes with lots of helpers for the Windows Phone platform. How about the cons of the Caliburn.Micro? Well, the only con I see is that it's a little bit complex to configure. It's not too complex, but it's more complex to configure than MVVM toolkit and other toolkits out there. But you get lots of pros from it as well. So I think it's like a fair trade. Okay, so let's make a demo and let's see how Caliburn.Micro works. Okay, so I'll open Visual Studio. I'll just create a file, new project, and I'll choose any one of the templates that are available for Windows Phone. For example, I will choose the empty template, the Windows Phone application, and I'll name it Caliburn.Micro demo app. And okay. So it's just a normal template, a normal application, and all I need to do are 4 steps exactly to be able to configure my application to work with Caliburn.Micro. I'll go to Manage NuGet package, and I will be searching for a package called Caliburn.Micro. See, it's already there. I'll just install, and it's in my application now as a reference. So the next step is I will be adding a class that is called the Bootstrapper, which is the Bootstrapper for the Caliburn.Micro. And what it does is that it takes care of everything that Strapper. Did I type it right? Yeah, okay. Bootstrapper. So it takes care of everything. It initializes everything in the Caliburn.Micro, the whole work for me. So let's just see what are we gonna type here. The Bootstrapper class is a static class, which makes it like it's not a static class. It's like it's not changing class. It's just the same code for all applications. You can find it on my blog. It's there. Or you will find the link in the description down below to the .css file. Let's copy it. As I said, it doesn't change from a project to project. It's the same. Let's copy it, and we will just type using Caliburn.Micro, which is what contains the phone Bootstrapper class, which the Bootstrapper inherits from. You won't need to add or change anything in here in the Bootstrapper class, unless if you want to like add advanced functionality that we're not gonna use in this demo, or it's not gonna be like a common issue. So you won't be needing to change anything unless except the this part. Here you need to register all your view models using the per-request method. What this does is that every view model, when it's requested, when you need the view model, anytime, this function creates a new instance of your view model and makes the application use it. So I'll just leave that as it is, because I'll be using the same name for the view model, which is main page view model. So I'll be leaving it as it is. If you have any more view models, you can add them in the next line and the next line, and etc. etc. So right now the third step, the next step to do, is to open the app.xaml page, and I will just add here my namespace, which is Caliburn.Micro demo app equals Caliburn.Micro demo app. Just a line to let it know my namespace, and in here I'll delete this resource, and I'll add a resource which is Caliburn.Micro demo app Bootstrapper. I'll let it know that the key is, X key as bootstrapper, and that's it. Also, I will be deleting the application lifetime object, which is application launching and application activated. I don't need it anymore. The Caliburn.Micro takes care of everything. In fact, the fourth step is going to the app.xaml.cs file and deleting every bit of code in there. I'll only be leaving the initialize component, which initializes my my standard XAML, and everything else is not needed actually. Also, I'll leave the debugger only for debugging purposes, but I don't need anything else. So anything underneath that is not needed. All of that is not needed. All the code in app.xaml is not needed, or app.xaml.cs is not needed, as the Caliburn.Micro takes care of all of it for me. Actually, the Caliburn.Micro replaces the app.xaml page. I will only need the app.xaml page for initializing my XAML components. That's it. That's it. I'm done with my configuration, and my app is now fully supporting Caliburn.Micro. And let's do a simple demo. Let's see how it works. So I'll add a new folder. To know the naming conventions, I'll add a new folder called viewmodels. I'm gonna add another folder. I'll name it views. Alright. And in views, I'll add a new item, a Windows Phone page called main page.xaml. So, an empty template. You can use any template. I just chose the empty template. And in the view models, I'll add my view model. Now, see the name of the view model. That's very important. Main page view model, which is the name of my view that I want to connect this view model with, which is main page, plus the word view model. That's it. By just adding this file, these two files, the view and the view model, are now connected. I don't need to do anything more. By just being in a folder in the namespace Caliburn.Micro demo app, which is my namespace .viewmodels, and adding the word view model, that connects this view model with this view. So what I'll do right now is to delete the main page.xaml that is outside. I don't need it anymore, as I will be using the one in the folder views. And I'll go to WM app manifest, and I'll change the navigation page just to point it to the new place. Okay, and right now I'll just go to the view models, and let's add a property here. First, let's make this a public class. Let's add a property. I'll call it test. So let's add a string, private string test. Let's name it that. And I'll name this public string, test, and I'll put the getter, which returns test, and I'll put the setter, which gives test the value. Now, this is the property. It's a string called test, and if you remember in the MVVM, we were the view model used to inherit from a class called iNotify property changed, which notifies my view that the property has changed, and lets it change it on the view. And you needed to add like a function called raised_property_changed, which handles this and sends does all the operation for me. In Caliburn.Micro, I don't need all that. I don't need all the recurring code. It's already done, and it's already hidden in the background. for me by the Caliburn.Micro. All I need to do is to inherit. Well, let's add using Caliburn.Micro in here, and I'll make my class inherit from something called property changed base. Here it is. And what that does is it contains every function that I need to notify that my property has changed, to notify the viewer that my property has changed. And right now I'll just need to add notify of property change, and I'll send the name of my property or the property itself, which is test, to my notify of property change. So right now I don't need to use the class that's called iNotify property changed. I don't need to write my own property change base. It's all written. I don't need to use the magic strings, which solves another problem in the MVVM architecture. All I did was inherit from the Caliburn.Micro framework. So that's it. I don't need to add anything more to my view model. It's all done. My view model now will send this property to the view when it's changed. So let's display the property in there. All right. I'll add a control text block, and I'll set the font size to a high size. Sorry. Yeah, high size, or for 40, for example, to make it easy to see. And right now, if you remember the binding correctly, you'll know that I needed to add the property that is needed to be bind. I needed to add like text equals binding and then send the name of this property. Right now, using the Caliburn.Micro, all I need to do is to set the name of the control, which is the text block, to give it the same name as the property. And that's it. My text block is ready, and my text block is bound. That's the beauty of the naming conventions. I just needed to write the name as test in here, and everything is bind. So right now, as you see in the main page, by naming it main page and putting the view model of it that I needed to link to it in a folder called view model, which makes its namespace Caliburn.Micro demo app.viewmodels. These two are bound. And by in a control, if I just type the name of the control, or set the name property of the control to match the property that I want to bind in here, it's bound. So let's test the app. Let's just give it a local value. Let's give the string here a local value. I don't need to connect to a model for demoing purposes, but you can connect to a model and get the data from a model, any kind of data that you want, and it will work. I'll just, for the demo purposes, I'll set the property locally here, and let's make public main page view model. Whoopsies. And say test equals. Yep, it's working. Let's change this to great, like the word great. It's working. And that's it. Right now, all I need to do is to go to my bootstrapper class, because it won't work unless I make it use Caliburn.Micro demo app.viewmodels. Now my bootstrapper class knows about my view model, and it will request a new instance when it's requested. And my view model is there, my view is there. They are connected to each other by naming conventions. My control is there, and it's connected to the property by naming conventions as well. So let's try and run it and see how it goes. It's deploying, it's opening. Yep, great, it's working. As you see, all the application worked and the binding worked by just using the naming conventions. Of course, Caliburn.Micro doesn't stop here. There are lots of features for the Caliburn.Micro, as I said, especially for Windows Phone, using the tombstoning, etc., etc., etc. And we will make a video soon demonstrating all these features, and a blog post, maybe a blog post series, I don't know. But until now, this is a start. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you tell me your feedback. Thank you so much.